Dennis, nice to have you come in and talk to us today. What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm retired now, but I used to be a blacksmith. My father was, and I was a blacksmith raised 7 children that way.
Wow.
And then obviously that was getting kind of obsolete.
Yeah.
And also I used to work on two-way radios and TVs.
Okay.
And they went, they were going into what I call hybrid TVs and working in that. And Dad decided to retire, so I bought the shop from him and raised the kids. And then out of the blue, these new cars come out solid state, and mechanics up there wouldn't work on them. I said, well, I'll work on them. And because I understood the electronics, and first thing you know, I tore down the old blacksmith shop, bought a new shop, or built a new one, and it flourishes very well now. My son runs it now, and I retired from it, and he makes me look sick, how good he is.
So if you don't mind us asking, how did you come to lose your hearing? Was it something work-related?
In the blacksmith shop, you're pounding on iron, and Dad had a nice little trick he used to do. He'd put a little, he'd spit on the anvil and put the iron on it and whack it with a hammer. And it's not like an M80 going off in the shop, literally. But we had trip hammers or electric hammers that just, I never thought anything about it. That's how I was around noise. Just I'd get in things and whatever I had to work on, pound on it, and just didn't worry about it. But I think the biggest damage I've done was guns. Firing guns from places I shouldn't have. Without any ear protection.
That'll do it to you.
You get around a lot of noise, and that's what took my hearing.
Okay. So comes the day, and somebody's talking to you, and you're thinking, I'm not entirely sure what it is that you're saying. So you find you have to go in, and for some years now, you've been coming here to Dr. Daines since he set up his own business. What particularly do you like about Paul?
He's honest. He works hard to satisfy you. Okay. He's very congenial. I think he takes your needs and your desires very seriously. Okay. He's a good man. He's a good man.
Because I know when you
educated very well into this. He understands what can be done and how to do it.
Now I understand that when you first came in, you'd got some hearing aids from somewhere else, and when you came to him, it wasn't the first thing on his agenda. Wasn't we've got to get you in some brand new hearing aids?
I had to talk him into selling me some hearing aids. He said, "Well, just keep these going." And I said, "Paul, it's not fair for me to come here where I bought these somewhere else." He says, "You don't worry about it." And he kept me going, kept him going, and finally.
Several years later.
He told me there's really not much out there at the time I was asking that would have been an improvement over what I had. Yeah. But when it happened, he said, "Hey, we got some things I want you to try now." Yeah. And I've tried the kind that go in your ear. You take out once every, several months. Mm-hmm. And we tried different ones. And, I tried the ones I've got on now. And holy mackerel. I thought I had good with there is, when you've lost your hearing, there is no cure to get it back to normal. Right. But it helps so I can hear my grandkids now, and that is the one thing that when my kids was growing up, I'd have to have an interpreter for my wife and my grandkids just to understand what was going on.
Now, have you got your hearing aids in now?
Yeah.
So I'm looking. I can't see anything.
Oh no, they're very well hid. They're behind my ear, but you can. If I turn it, you can see that one. But in here.
Oh yeah, just barely. And it's a little tiny.
But they go in. They're not very big, and they're they got a special amplifier that goes inside that boosts them even higher than normal. Wow. And it's just unbelievable.
It's life-altering. So we've come a long way. I'm thinking from the old, the old horns that people used to have those you couldn't miss those until these little tiny things that people literally can't see anymore. Hey, Dennis, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your story with us. Any final thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you, if you're person ever interested in hearing aids, you got to wear them to get used to them. Okay. I can tell you that. Okay. But there'll be sounds you're going to have to learn to hear again, because when you've been deaf for most of your life, there's sounds you won't I remember going out to Sizzler one day, and I come out of there, and I told Mom, what kind of a bird's this? She said, what bird you talking about? I said, I can hear a bird chirping. And she started to laugh at me, and she says, it's someone pushed the button or hit across the street walk. It's just a warning for people that's blind. I thought, I've never heard that before.
Wow. So there you go. It's opening up all your life. Well, as I say, thanks again for coming in and sharing your story. And if you really do want that personal customer service, I don't think that you could do any better than to come in and talk to Dr. Paul Daines here at Cache Valley Hearing. Thank you, Dennis.
I agree.